G'day everyone and welcome to the preview of Sportsbet Ballarat Cup Day. As usual, I'm joined by Darren Potter. Potts, how are you, mate?
Thanks, Juppy. Well, I am just a bit rooted, Juppy, after looking at about 160 replays and going through that same amount of horses. Only 160 because I decided to completely brush the 2-year-old race. So if I had done the 2-year-old race, it would have been 170, but they are enormous fields. Filled with opportunity, I suppose, but we're just going to need a little bit of luck in our side because it's a bit like what we discussed last week with these sort of the risk profile of these kind of days mean that you have to leave horses out that you know have got a chance.
Yeah.
You can't cover every base, so you've just got to try and find the horses with the best edge. And I don't want to use the word hope, but you sort of then just rely on results falling your way. But
we had a complete fill-up last week. What was it, plus 53 units or something?
It was plus 50 odd in the chat room. So the morning set was about 25, I think. But on the day we also added in Famous Seamus. We did the Sandown Guineas race, which gave us Mahuda.
Yeah.
I think they were the big differences between.
And Who Shot the Barman.
Oh, and Who Shot the Barman, of course. So yeah, there was a few extra pieces in there for the ones that were in the chat room on the day. So it was a good day. We got off to a slow start, but we had something on the last 7 winners, so it's good.
Well, if you enjoy backing winners and you enjoy getting the quaddie, and not only that, if you enjoy playing exotics, there was plenty of races where you either had 3 or 4 bets in the race, and there was I think there was at least 3 that I can think of that ran the trifecta, and there was even a couple that ran the first 4. So whichever way you wanted to tackle it.
It was good. There was some good dividends there last week. I thought the quaddie paid well. I mean, I'm not a quaddie player, but I think it was $3,500 or something. It was a pretty good dividend. So,
and also a big shout out to a good mate of mine, Dom Ricks Tubes. He won the tournament, the $25,000 tournament on the weekend, basically by using your stuff and Mark Lambourne's stuff. He
excellent.
Found a couple of other winners along the way. I saw him back to last in Adelaide. So well done, Tubes. There was sort of friends of the show filled the top 3 there. So. John Colton finishing second and Crookie finishing third, so it's a great way to sort of, like I mucked around with it a little bit last week. And the other thing that you can do is it can cost you almost nothing to get in. There's tournaments throughout the week. Like the Friday night one, I was just playing around with pots. It was a $6 buy-in, and that wins you. And if you win or finish top 3 or however many participants are in it, you then win your ticket into the Saturday comp, into the $25,000 tournament. So
I think they're a great thing. When we get sort of over this period and things are a little less taxing, I'm hopeful of participating in more of the tournaments, and particularly as they're paying down further down.
Yeah,
I think that gives you chances to, you don't have to go all in. It's not a bit of, everything comes down to the last race, what I mean? So I think they're a terrific idea. I want to support it as much as I can, so looking forward to being involved. And well done to those boys that did get the cash there last week.
Well, hopefully we can get some cash out of Ballarat this week. The cool change is starting to blow in now, isn't it? We're recording this Thursday afternoon. It was real warm this morning. The cool change just started to blow in now. They reckon there's a bit of some rain around tomorrow, maybe a shower or 2 on Saturday morning, but I think all it'll do is save them from watering, won't it? Yeah,
ideal. It's better if it rains than putting the watering trucks around. So, they haven't been in the rail true position since September 20. The surface should be fair. The only thing that will create bias, I would think, is wind, because it's a fairly exposed course.
Yeah.
But the wind's sort of only in the forecast about 25 k's, so it might have some effect on the leaders, but I wouldn't think it's going to be massive.
Yeah. Speaking of tracks, there is a couple of things that have made me. Matt put up an article this afternoon about your top 5 pet hates of the industry, like the subs in the quaddies and things like that. Well, one of mine is that track race perfectly last week for mine. Potts.
Absolutely.
So for Johnny Sadler to come out and say that track didn't have enough give in it, had he not watched Flemington the week before where they overwatered the night before and you saw it happen on Derby Day? Now, everyone's got to get their head around this. Today at Benalla, they're on there. It's very warm up in the states northwest. This time yesterday afternoon, the track was borderline 4-5. After race 2, they upgraded it to a firm 2. That's just what's going to happen at this time of year. We're in the middle of summer and it's hot. They're going to dry out. You can't run the water truck around in between races. So we need to just, if you want soft ground, you want sting out of the ground. The horse still won, mind you. He was going to scratch it.
The funny thing is, he has scratched Charmed Harmony a number of times, and he's threatened to do it a number of other times. The horse doesn't care.
No.
The horse goes fine on it. He's just, obviously, John's got something in his head about that horse, and probably pulled up with sore feet one day, sore joints or something, and he can't get over it. It's a bit odd. There was absolutely nothing wrong with that track last week. It was a bit of an advantage to be drawn wide, but, really it was pretty fair racing.
Yeah, like, it was nothing out of the ordinary. It's not, you didn't go there like what happened through the rest of the carnival, where you turn up and go, well, I wasn't expecting this. So I think if you want soft ground and you want sting out of the ground, don't probably have your horses in work at the end of November and have them in work in the middle of the year.
That makes perfect sense to me.
But even then, through most of the year, we had good tracks on the city tracks through most of the winter anyway, because they all drain so well. So it's just, they can't put that amount of water on the tracks to keep them with the sting out without creating bias. So I think everyone needs to just sort of change their thinking a little bit.
Sure do. It's a pretty clear fact. They can't water these tracks uniformly. It's a problem. So anyway, let's just get on with this one, Juppy.
Ballarat Race 1's the easy waste handicap over 1100. We've got Judges at 460, Buletti at 10, Pendles at 8, The Travelling Man at $11, Osteria 6, Mr. Liberty $5.50 and $13. Abaha.
Pretty steady start to the day, Juppy. Pretty steady race. A race I could easily let go, but just going to look for a little bit of value in some of these lightly raced runners. So first of all, one of the things that's attracting me to bet in this race is the price of Judges. He seems to be priced short because he's a relative of Rain Affairs, I think, or something. That's put a bit of a spruik in him, because his win at Ararat was really a nothing win. He just found the front on a track where you wanted to find the front.
Which is what you have to do at Ararat.
And he beat a bunch of horses that weren't suited in the race, so he looks easy to oppose here to me. But there's nothing that sort of jumps out at me as an obvious rubber stamp horse here, so we're sort of clutching at straws a bit. But I'll start with Mr. Liberty. He started short at his 2 runs his prep in Adelaide. He's run up the wind both times, like just trucked into the race and looked like he had him shot to pieces. And both times the horse has come off his back, sort of, that he's dragged into the race and nabbed him on the line, which I'm sure has been pretty frustrating for the connection. So I'm not sure how much ability he's got, but he's a solid enough horse, and he looks like he'll run a good race here. So he's about his right price though. Horse that's out of the market that I think's a very interesting runner is right down the bottom. I think it's pronounced Oberha. Only had 3 runs, so stable thought enough of it to take it up to Queensland. I think they've also got a stable up there, but started off here and went up to Queensland in the winter and got her maiden out of the way, and then ran well in I think it might have been a sales race or something, a 65k race up there, but I can't remember the name. There was a horse that ran 3rd in that race that came off that race and won in Sydney straight off it, impressively too. Just can't remember the name.
Golden Falls?
Yeah, that's it, Golden Falls. Yeah, it ran 3rd. Golden Falls ran 3rd and come off that. Thank you, Juppy. So Oberha's only, resuming in her 2nd prep. She looks an interesting runner and she's big on. So
would they have sent that to Queensland Pots for the drier ground, perhaps? Because I saw it at its first start in the maiden on the Geelong Synthetic, so maybe they've sent it up north, trying to dodge some of the winter tracks down here at that time of year.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't.
Oh, and the sales race too would probably be something that they would have been aiming at.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Usually winter up in Queensland, it's always wet, but I didn't pay much attention this year, so I'm not sure what the tracks were like up there, but I know they had a lot of racing at Doomben, which meant some of the results were a bit prickly, which I'm not sure about this horse, but big enough odds to get me interested. And the other one I could throw in there, he's a disappointing horse, Beluti, but this looks a pretty good race for him. He was victim of one of those sort of rush out of the gates, hit the anchors when he was up in distance last start. I don't know when riders are going to learn that sort of ride does not suit very many horses, and we see it all too often. But anyway, that's about it for that race.
Race 2 is the Eureka Concrete 1200 metres. Another big field here, Potts. We've got Lytton Princessa 420, Northern Saint 10, Estaminet 330. So bucket this up. Just a minute. What else we got here? The rest appear to be just about double figures, I think.
It's a pretty hollow race, Juppy. It's the mares, and most of them have had their golden patch. For those that follow Mark Lambourne's Pearls, they'll know he talks regularly about the mares' golden patch. They usually have one in their career where they usually win 2 or 3 races, and more often than not, that's about it for them. A lot of these have had that, and that's where they sit. The exception in this race is Estaminet, who's just flying, and she's been travelling really well in her races, which indicates a horse that's got a fair bit on her opposition.
Yep.
So I think she's got, she's just the easy horse to back here, and I think there's 340 still around, and that is a good price, I would say. Lytton Princess is the obvious danger. She's racing well. But I think they're too close in the market. I think Estaminet will start shorter and Lytton Princess will drift. The only other horse I can consider in this race is A Lot of Love. Her career best has come at Ballarat. She's got a soft draw here, and she could get into the race late.
20 to 1 chance, A Lot of Love. So one there for us. Any sort of query on? Jackie Berryman hasn't had many rides in town over the carnival. 1.5 kilo. Like, I know the claim it helps, but it's like up against Mellum and some of these other boys that have ridden through the carnival. Look like it's a bit of a step up for her. So
yeah, well, I think
she's got a lot of talent. But
well, Ben Mellum holds all the aces here because he's on the best horse. But she rode Lytton Princessa at Moonee Valley.
Yeah.
She nearly got it beat. So
okay.
I'm saying that she should have won by further. The margins there flattered the horses she beat. No, it wasn't necessarily Jackie's fault. She just got caught in an awkward spot.
Yeah.
She never got off the horse. It won under its own steam. So
race 3 is the Sam Miranda handicap over 2,300. Purple Smile 650. Honey Steel Gold 15. Lethal 11. Grand Armada 14. Triple Gold 6. All I Survey 11. Lipseros is $2.90. $14. Spectacular Vision. Again, it looks a race with a bit of a tail. Potts.
It is, mate. Yep. So when I do form for races like this, particularly staying races, I try and find horses that are going to send some sort of benchmark that you have to be able to beat to be any chance.
Yep.
So the 2 horses in this race that are sort of established and solid enough provincial stayers are Sammy the Snake and Purple Smile. So if you can't beat them, hope. The reason I do that is it allows me to mark a lot of horses really long prices.
Yeah.
Then get the chances that are, got an edge on those benchmark horses
just
to get them short. You know what I mean?
Favourite long shot bias, just sort of working that out. So you're not taking, there should be more percentage in the favourites and less in the long shots. And
exactly.
With that sort of benchmarking, that allows you to do that, doesn't it?
That's exactly it, Juppy. Well explained. So the reason I did that because I wanted to see what price I could mark this favourite, because it looks to be a talented horse. I know he's only brought 3 horses here or whatever.
Yeah.
But every horse he puts a saddle on this bloke, we're talking about, is it Andreas
Wallet, yeah.
They just go, they just run out of their skin. I mean, they just look beautifully tuned, powerful horses. So we're talking about Protectionist. What was the horse over the carnival? Anyway,
there was another one that the Gun Road, wasn't it? Yeah.
Ran in the McKinnon, and then they don't have one run. Oh, then it ran in the Emirates. It ran 4th in the Emirates too. So they ought to seem to run well. Anyway, this horse ran in a maiden, I think, at Mornington, and was it Mornington?
Yeah, Mornington was Even's favourite.
And the gun was obviously sent out with instructions. This thing's a good thing. Ride it like it's a good thing. So he made sure he had a position throughout. And the other jockeys just kept trying to checkmate him. Like, it was quite funny. They all just kept coming around and trying to put him in a pocket. And he kept using the horse. He kept using it and using it and using it. And the horse just stood as raced away from him at the end. Now, it's a 2,000 metre maiden, so you're beating slow horses, right? But he did it like a horse that's got a lot of wins in him. So he is far too good for these, and he looks to me to be a genuine 6-4 chance. So I think the early price, I think there's $3 still available, is a good price to take. I think the only danger at all here, apart from, you know, luck in running type things, is All I Survey. He's a stayer with some talent. Last prep, he took a few runs to build up, and he finished off last prep with 2 really good runs at the sort of level that would normally win a race like this. So he's had 3 runs under his belt now. He's probably nearly ready to do something, and he can just sort of be ridden for luck. And, you know, if everything goes right for him and things don't go right for the favourite, you could knock him off.
Yeah.
It's $13. So.
Yeah, so and I suppose part of that factor of being $13 is also the trainer jockey combo, isn't it? Because it's not as if they're shooting the lights out those McLeod and Pat Carey. Like, they're decent, but I wouldn't want to have me last on them. Race 4 at Ballarat is the Thomas Jewellers Vobis Gold Eureka Stockade over 1400. Ragazzo del Corsa 6, Cracker 9, Apollo Boom 950, Rezak is 11, Uncanny Effort 13, Vinny Vega 13, Broadway in first is 7, and Orvasa 550 and $12. Patchy gift down the bottom there.
Yeah, it's a run. Pretty steady race of for 3-year-olds for 100k. So that's the bonus you get if you buy them at these sales, I suppose. Restricted race running for probably too good a prize money for these horses. So I think the if you're going to get involved in these races, you've sort of got to try and pick out the horses that have been sort of held back.
Yeah, and saved
for these races. So I get the feeling that that's what's happened with Broadway in first. That he's got some talent, and it's Darren Weir.
And he's the master at setting horses. Like we saw it with Trust and Agas and those sort of horses. He just picks the eyes off these.
Yeah, and before he became the premier trainer, he was a master at targeting these provincial type meetings. So he's still good at that, and now he wins all the city races as well. So Broadway in first looks a backable price. It's got form around Orvasa. Orvasa looks like the whole prep's been aimed at this. So 3 quiet runs. She was out the back last week, ran on into 4th place, comes here on the back up, but she's drawn wide, which means she'll probably have to go a fair way back. So I think she's probably a bit short, but they're the 2 horses I think have been, you know, really targeted at this race and seem to have a bit of an edge in them. I suppose, what price was Kraken? Did you rate Kraken?
$9.
$9. I mean, he's just, I can't see anything in his form, but it's Darren Weir.
It's Weir at home in Ruel.
Yeah, so I don't know. I can't, and the other horse that's worth mentioning is Ragazzo del Corsa. I mean, he's coming off the Group 1 behind Japanese Me. However, he drew 1 that day, so his finishing position's probably flattered because he was on the fast lane, and I can find no evidence at all that this horse can get past 1200 metres, so I'm prepared to risk him.
It looks a bit of a throw up the stumps, doesn't it? Race 5 is the Magic Millions 2-year-old Clockwise Classic. Potts just mentioned there's just absolutely nothing to work with here, is there? There's the set of Ballarat jump outs that they put on for him, or you could trial in Sydney. It's a good concept, well done to him for trying something, but it's just absolutely not a betting proposition, and boy, you'd make it race 5, I'll never know.
That's the question. I think it's it makes perfect sense for him to have a lead up to Magic Millions. It makes sense for him to reverse the direction so the horses can have the run and then go up to the Magic Millions. Everything makes sense, but except for race 5. So for us, race 5 becomes lunch. Well, and we'll have a sandwich.
Well, especially when all we hear about is it's all about wagering outcomes.
Yeah.
To me, that doesn't seem like the greatest wagering outcome.
I would think it would be significantly the lowest turnover race of the day, right in the middle of the card. So, anyway.
Race 6 then is the IGA Liquor McCallum Mile, which of course is over a mile. Dante's Finale 11, Clemo 12, Manapine 10, Skirapore 750, Show a Star 6, Bajura 11, 550 Like a Day, and that's pretty much it, Pots. Another big field.
Yep, okay. it's one of those races with lots of chances again. But there's one standout to me. That's Show a Star, trained by Gay Waterhouse. He resumed on Geelong Cup Day on a day that was difficult for leaders because of wind.
Yep.
So it fascinates me when you have wind that's affecting the leaders. We get some jockeys that think steering away from the rail will help them.
There's the same
I've been seeing that at Randwick for years. Because you see horses coming down the outside lane just winning every race. So the jockeys and the leaders try and get to those lanes first. Randwick it can be the lanes. I'm just saying sometimes it's not.
No.
The leaders are being like a cycling peloton. They're exposed to the wind. They're being affected by it. So the horses that have got cover that are coming around them just get the thing. So as soon as if you're the leader and you go off the fence and it's not because of the ground like it wasn't at Geelong that day, all that means is that the horses that have got cover behind you can pinch up and get close enough to you to beat you. So this horse was ridden by Michelle Payne at Geelong. It was a tragic ride because not only did she sit 4 wide off the fence the whole way in front, she then went around the turn 4 wide, didn't cut the corner at all. And Lord Athenaeum and I think it was Orient Line, but anyway, another horse got up inside, saved ground. Then one come to her outside, one went to her inside. And just as the race got interesting, so one was inside and one was outside, just as the race was on in earnest, she was going to get beat anyway, but probably going to get beat half a length. Just as she went for the whip or went to change hands with the whip, she dropped the reins. She almost fell off. The horse got unbalanced, cost it more ground. So it getting beaten 1.4 in that race is misleading. It should have probably won the race. And if Shane Anderson's watching, I'm not making that criticism of Michelle because she's a girl. I'm making that criticism of her because she's a jockey. So nothing annoys me more than when people make legitimate analysis of any, whether it's trainers, jockeys or anything, and some bloke in the media tries to make out like it's people being somehow sexist. So Shane did exactly that on Twitter when the boys at the Punter Show wrote a perfectly legitimate article
with her stats.
Just about Michelle's stats. Every week there's discussion on the Punter Show about all sorts of jockeys, no matter what race, sex or anything they are. And my review that I did last week, I pointed out that several jockeys at Sandown last week had several really good rides and a couple of absolute shockers. And it was nothing to do with their sex, Shane. It was everything to do with the fact that they're jockeys and we're punters and we're entitled to make comments about where there are good and bad rides without people in the media having a go at us for doing so.
Ralphie brought it up on Twitter yesterday, I think it was, referring to last week, where you said Jack and Obey, the only query I've got with it is Michael Walker.
Yeah.
If you don't have an opinion and you're not prepared to pot or mark things harshly in some cases, then you're just not going to make money out of it because following the crowd's not going to help you.
Yeah, and you've got to be really objective about it, Juppy. Michael Walker is a terrific jockey.
Yeah.
As is Michelle Payne.
Yeah.
They have both got strengths and weaknesses.
Yes.
Now, Michael Walker last week was absolutely outstanding on our Moonquith. You will not see a better ride than that. But he is legless on horses like Jack and Obey.
Yep.
He just doesn't, at this stage of his career, for some reason, I don't know whether he's riding to instructions or what the problem is, but he's not getting it on those horses.
Yep.
So if he's on a horse that needs to be ridden at a testing tempo, I'm really concerned about backing it. So that's what this analysis is all about.
Well, and you've got to Snowy after the copped a bit from me as just a G up and a few others on Twitter after he was potting Joe Moreira after he got absolutely handled during the carnival in Sydney. That was one of the best rides you'll ever see when he rode Brazen Bow to win the Newmarket.
Yeah.
They all put in good and bad rides.
Yeah.
You just got to hope that you're on the right side of each of them to make money out of it. But I'm not potting Joe because he's a Brazilian, and I'm not potting Michelle because she's a girl. I'm potting them because they're jockeys.
Yeah. And
they have strengths and weaknesses, the same as what you're doing, and the same as what. I don't care what they look like or where they're from, it's what job they're going to do for me.
Yeah, well, I can assure Shane Anderson that the discussion about Michelle Payne on this show is about her being a jockey, full stop.
Yeah.
Okay, so on this horse, I'm glad she's off and Jordan Childs is on. I see that as a positive. Hopefully he'll be given appropriate instructions and he'll try and trail Dante's Finale and Like a Day. And if he does that, he's got a talent edge here and he should be a clear favourite, I think. Like a Day's a similar horse. They're both drawn out wide. Yeah, Like a Day's a little bit inside, but they're both drawn out wide. So, Like a Day will make a race of it, particularly with the Weir targeted at this day. Manapine's a bit of an interesting horse here. He's been in and scratched a few times, I think, save for the right kind of race. This looks the right kind of race for him. He's been a well-spruiked horse. I think at one stage he was nearly sold to Hong Kong for big money. He's just a runner I'd rather have on my side at big odds here. And Luke's is the other runner that I'm a little bit interested in. He's a big horse that sort of had trouble putting it together, and his first up run was indicative of a horse that's in for a good prep.
The other thing with those offers from, I don't care what sort of horse it is, Potts, if you get a reasonable offer, take it. Because invariably, you're much better off selling it than not.
The only exception to that rule, I think, is the Great Brilliant Terror, that the Punter Show boy who sold to Hong Kong, and he's won about 8 races over there, so anyway.
Yeah, but those blokes are cursed, so that's, that's different.
We should do the Spruik, Juppy. I just wanted to say that, as we mentioned earlier, the Pro Bet Live chat room was really good for the subscribers last week. We added a bit of value in there, and we had a new participant last week, a bloke called Michael Thomas, who's been a subscriber of mine for a while. He's a former bookmaker, retired now, been around the game for a long time, so I was really keen to get some feedback from Michael, and he spoke really highly of the overall experience. He said, look, for a now stay-at-home punter, it brought back a lot of the camaraderie that he'd been missing by not going to the track.
Like, I had a rare Saturday off last weekend, and the other half and the little one are on holiday, so I was at home by myself. I had Carnival on, I had the chat room open, and just for banter. It's like, otherwise it is a fairly lonely existence sitting there by yourself. It's great for that, especially when Dallas got Tourette's there towards the end.
Well, I think someone commandeered Dallas's laptop. It was a bit unfortunate on Girls' Drunk Day Out there at Rhodes Hill. But so for guys like me and Michael that are just don't get to the track very often these days, it does give a bit of that banner and that sort of stuff that you used to get from going to the track, which is good. And he was very high in his praise of getting the because he only bets in Melbourne, the on-course betting information from Dolts. He found that really helpful. Yeah. Because Michael gets my set, but he does his own thing. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's his own man. But so anyway, what I'm saying is, someone that's been around the game as long as Michael has really found it valuable. I think that's a good recommendation for what we're doing and the direction we're going in with it. So, and
even if you are on track, like I'm in it every week, and especially this time of year, it's probably I'm more than likely going to be on track, and I have it there over on my mini iPad, and I just have it sitting there, and it just ticks over, and I read through and chime in when I need to, and it keeps you involved, and it does in a few ways keeps you focused too. Like it just reminds you that, okay, well, this is how the day's sort of ebbing and flowing. This is what's happening. This is what we need to be looking for.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things it's all about. Like, so John and I are in there to be, as the professional punters in the thing, to just remind everyone that emotions on the day are dangerous. Yeah. Reacting to them is death in punting. You've got to have a plan, and you should only stray from that plan if there's good reason to do so. Yeah. You shouldn't be, things like chasing and reacting to how the day's going is going to cause you problems as a punter. Anyway, that's our plug for the day. And again, the info from On Track last week was really good, particularly from Sydney to Dallas.
And we will miss Carnival too.
Yeah, we will.
So it's a bit of a shame that that's sort of finishing up, because they did provide, like, you had Vince there, so you get the times reasonably quickly, especially on the smaller days. And you had Dallas in the yard in Sydney, and you had Dean Lester and Warren was providing his stuff too into the chat room.
Maybe we could get Vince and Ralph into the chat room.
Well, in fact, we might get onto that.
We might have to get onto that. That could be a good thing.
Ballarat Race 7 is the Magic Millions 3 and 4-year-old Classic over 1100. We've got Hustle and Eagle 5, Nordic Empire 8, Illustrious Lad 650, Wild Rain 270 for Kavanagh, and the rest are all big prizes, but
seems a short price, doesn't it?
Well, the market seems to think there's 4 hopes, and I don't know whether I could have I don't know whether I could have it that short.
I mean, on paper, Wild Rain's coming through the run at the Flemington Carnival, where she killed the inside division and was only photoed by the quarterback out wide. So on paper, it's a really good run, but I couldn't possibly take 280 about her in this race. So she's a really good winning chance, but she's under the odds. So just
Well, in that race last day, she was 750 equal favourite, it says here.
yeah, that's about right. Yeah, it was a wide open. But that was the race after we had a big rain and set the market upside down. But anyway, I mean, she's a good chance, but she'll be up front here on a pretty hot speed, and she'll be the hunted. So I'm preferring to look at horses that might be able to sit on her and get over top of her late. So the interesting runners to me are Hassan Eagle. He's a fresh sprinter. That's what he is. He's all of his wins have come fresh. He's drawn to just pop straight in behind him here, conserve all his energy, and make one 400-metre sprint. So he's backable. Nordic Empire resumes as a gelding. Often we see, this is one of Dallas's pearls, I'd say, that when they get them back as geldings, the trainers want to wind them right up for the first up run.
Yeah.
It's like their new toy, let's make it happen first up. So I'm keen to give him an opportunity first up. He's a horse that's he's looked good at times, but then when the crunches come, he's fallen to pieces. So maybe that was just been a stallion, so we'll see how he goes as a gelding. And Mert the Flirt actually won the 3-year-old race last year at this meeting. Both of his wins have come at Ballarat, and he went up to Queensland for the winner, and he put in a few good runs up there. He looks a remarkably big price to me. Yeah, he looks like he should be about a 10 to 1 chance, and he's closer to 20 to 1 in the market. So
Yeah, $17.
yeah, I'd have to have something on him.
What about Illustrious Lad there, Potts? He beat Hassan Eagle in that race at Flemington that day, and
for a good friend of the show, Peter Galligatis. Look, I think he's a horse that gets better with racing. So he won down the straight. He'd sort of been racing the same horses show me the best bets. That horse of Rough Justice, I'm thinking of, the Eldertons. So early in the prep, Rough Justice had him covered, and then when they went up in distance, I was the third or fourth up, he was too good for those horses. So I'm thinking he'll probably run a nice race here, but he's a horse that I'll be more interested in sort of third or fourth up at 1,200.
Well, that sort of backs up the theory a bit, because Hassan Eagle beat him the start before when it was 6 weeks between runs for him. So you're right with him being the fresh. It needs to be fresh. So,
but he has trialled. He trialled on the same heat as Nordic Empire. There was nothing in the trials, but I just think at this distance range, potentially, if he puts his mind on the job, Nordic Empire's a sharp horse. And same with Hassan Eagle, fresh, sharper. As they get a bit of racing into them, Illustrious Lad will get closer to them and eventually go past them.
Just one other thing, buttressing here. This is race 8 at Sportsbet.com Ballarat Cup over 2,200. It's worth 300,000 plots, so it's equal the highest country cup in the country. Do you like these standalone? We only have 3 of them. I reckon at Ballarat it works, and I reckon at Bendigo it works. I'm not sure about whether it works at Mornington just because of the track, but they're both tracks that I don't mind betting on. And it just does give a bit of a change after we've had all the city racing that we've had.
I think that's right. So it's something different. I mean, I've never, not my position to analyse betting turnover. I would think it's probably down than if this meeting was at Caulfield, for instance, right? But I think it's got a place for sure. I would hate to see him overdo it, but Bendigo won. When's that? That's in April or something.
Yeah, at the start of the autumn there. Yeah.
And this one, I think they're okay. And
if I remember correctly, I reckon that Bendigo meeting you nailed that meeting the last couple of times. I think.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know I found a 10 to 1 winner at one of them that I virtually declared. It was in a 1,000-metre race. Some lady trainer that's her only horse. So
we need a few more of those spots. So in the Cup, Janoob 18, Index Link 12, Axar 9, Tullybuck Kid 10, Maygrove 14, Ponderosa Mist 15, Sontag 15, Sismo 9, Murgidale 10, Ungrateful Allen 550. Looks a very even race, but there's a couple of interesting runners there, I reckon.
It is. It's interesting because you've got a number of, the majority of the field coming back from sort of 24, 25, 2600 metre races, and then you've got some coming up. So, again, referring to Mark's Pearls, like the best preparation for a 2400 metre run race is a 2400 metre run.
Yeah.
But at 2200, I'm not sort of it's in the middle. I don't know if you're better off coming from a 2000 metre race or coming back from 2400. I suppose that largely depends on the tempo. So the map here looks like it'll be game on. You'll have Zayam and Murgidale punching up from the inside, Maygrove and Lord Durant coming across. Sismo's drawn wide. He'll either have to go right back or right forward, so he could be part of the speed. Prince Sherry has to try and find a spot. Digitalism's drawn wide, and if he doesn't slot in, he can get pulling. So Don DeRemo, if he jumps this week, will be up there. So there seems to be a lot of early pressure, especially as they don't have from memory, I don't think they have a particularly long run till they get to that first corner.
No, and you know why it is 2200 metres this race, Spots? Because if it's 2300, because it's a listed race, it becomes a qualifying race for the Melbourne Cup.
Right.
So that's the reason why it's 2200.
Okay. So why don't they want it to be a qualifying race?
I don't know. Greg Carpenter was talking about that on the radio this morning.
Okay.
You think that they make it 2400 or something at least, and then have a better run in, and then.
I don't know where the 2400 metre start would be, but if there could be 2400, it would make a lot more sense. Anyway, it is what it is. So, not a race that I'm in love with, but the case for Ungrateful Ellen seems pretty obvious. She's the one that sort of on the up still in a prep. There's a lot of out of form horses here that would be very hard to trust. So. They'll be winning chances, but just they're not in good form. Whereas she seems to be building. So she had the pretty solid run in the race that Fenway won at Moonee Valley. Then she put in a flat one on the back up at Caulfield, and then bounced back to run really well in the Lucia Valentina race. And her run was almost identical to Casino Dancer, who we saw come out and win on the back up off that last week. At nice odds. She gets a nice weight drop. She could get a perfect run in the sweet spot here. It just all looks ideal for her to run a really competitive race. So she's the $6 favourite, and I think that's a backable price. That's about her price. So
no, the start is the 2200 metre starts almost at the top of the straight, so they get the straight to sort themselves out here.
So they got the earlier races, a 2300 metre run. So,
well, it must be starting on the bend, or
where's it start? Is there a picture of it?
No, all I've got there is that we're just looking at best bets.
Right.
No, we've got the 22, like the 2300
metres.
start
another 100 metres. Well, anyway, whatever. Seismo's of some interest to me here. Like he's again another one off the big weight drop.
Yeah,
he had 61 kilos in the race at Flemington. He drops to 54 here. He's never been beyond 2040, but there's a lot of his better runs have come at 2000. So he's a capable horse here. I don't know what they're going to do tactics wise, but he's a big enough price to include him. If he was at his best, Index Link's probably top pick here, and he certainly would be in a 2000 metre race. So 2400 stretches him, but 2200 is probably okay. And he looks at a big price, really. There's a lot of other chances, so I wouldn't talk anyone out of any of them, really. So
yeah, I think with Index Link, they're pots. Like if you give that last run,
the last run's. He was no hope against the bias in the beginning.
Yeah.
Like it just. He was tortured by. He had the jockey just. It might as well have been a barrier trial.
Yeah.
I think the last run doesn't worry me at all, but when he was putting together a string of pretty good runs last prep in Queensland, it was exactly that. It was a string of good runs.
Yeah.
Here you're sort of punting on him producing one. There was it Mornington? He's placing.
He ran third in the Cranbourne Cup.
Cranbourne. It was a Cranbourne. So it was a real, very slowly run race.
Yeah.
That race at Digitalism won, and then he. That was the
that's right.
And then the McKinnon meant nothing. It just, you know.
And that's the shame about the carnival, isn't it? It's now we're coming out of it and you're having to throw the form out of all those races.
Yeah.
Because of the track. Race 9 is the...
we saw last week, Juppy, what the difference in everything when you had a strongly run 3,200 metre race, and the strong form just comes straight to the fore. So, you know, Elmer and Quith, the offer, Graham Marshall, fair gap back to the rest. So, you know,
a fair track.
On a fair track. So, it's the track pattern Melbourne Cup Day was terrible for that size of field, but B, what the jockeys were doing,
it was
allowing it to be run at that
mindless
tempo is on the jockeys on the stronger horses. They committed suicide. So there we go.
More friends of the show here, Pods. Ballarat Isuzu. They sponsor the 1,400 metre handicap. I drive one of their fine products each day. We've got Durandale at 420, Orion 10, Profit Share 480, $9 Society Man, Volcanic Ash 850.
Yep.
Guess you asked the rest.
Yeah, well, again, another race, you know, where a lot of fringe dwellers here, but there's two obvious picks and they kind of pick themselves. So Durandale comes through what's looking like a hot form race at Malaguera run on Cup Day. He was third up there, probably wasn't quite ready for a race that brutal. His run was good enough. He slots into the box seat here on what will probably be a fairly moderate tempo, and I would say he's the horse to beat. Profit Share looks like another weird runner that's been specifically targeted at this meeting. You know, first up run, he was a bit unlucky not to finish closer behind Wineholt and Malaguera at Geelong. Second up run in the 1,300 metre, importantly, at 1,300 metre race at Ararat, the China Bowl.
Yep.
Where it was, Tycoon Tara dominated it on pace, and there was a lot of unlucky runners, and he had trouble getting clear and ran second or third. So he's third up plus 100 metres. So I'd say this is a target.
Yeah.
That's usually a sign of a specific third up target when they go up 100 metres like that. You know, the track pattern will be a factor here. So if the inside draws are on pace as an advantage, Durandale will start favourite. If the inside's problematic and the wide draws are doing well, Profit Share will start favourite. So it just depends on what's happening with the track. They're the 4-year-olds in the race with the right form. A lot of these are older horses that are sort of just thereabouts. The other 4-year-old in the race getting a start as an emergency is Volcanic Ash. His form last prep's well and truly good enough to win this, but geez, his last run was ordinary, so I'm still thinking about him. He's drawn the extreme outside. Not sure what to make of him off that really bad run.
Yeah, it just seems a tricky race, doesn't it? Race 10 at 5 to 6, possibly. I'm lucky to be alive by this stage. City of Ballarat Tonks Plate over 1,200. Red Bomber 7, General Jackson 10, Magnus Range 750, Mandela 9, Wineholt 550, Gallant Harmony 9.
A good race to finish.
Gallant Harmony going to handle the potential dry track though, Pods.
Yes, well, he could be scratched. He's another one that goes into the scratched a lot. He's a funny horse. He's only had a couple of 1,100 metre runs or three. I think he's had for 2 wins and a placing. And to me, he looks like an absolute 1,100 metre horse. Like, he tends to find the speedsters a bit too sharp at 1,000,
yep.
And the 1,200 stretches him. So, probably just hard for Sads to find those 1,100s at his grade. Anyway, going back to that Malaguera form again, Wineholt beat him 2 starts ago at Geelong, and then ran in the Flemington race, and he split Tashby and the horse from the previous race, Durandale. Looks like pretty good form for this. He's a horse that once he gets fit, he holds his form. He won a couple of races, at least of this quality, in Sydney last prep. He gets a nice run. He just looks a really solid chance, and I think the $6 early is a really good price. Gallant Harmony's a chance. He's a backable price. Red Bomber's just a terrific horse. He's just a beauty. Like,
Yeah.
second up last prep, he ran down Trust in a Gus in a race not unlike this. He's well enough found, but dangerous letting a horse like him go around against you. He's had 15 starts for 9 wins. He's just a really honest horse. And the Weir runner here, Magnus Rain, he's a horse I can never find, but he tends to peak on the right day, so he's dangerous here. He needs to be looked at a bit. So it just depends. If Darren Weir's having a particularly good day, I'd be terrified of leaving him out. So,
Well, that wraps up a pretty interesting day up there at Ballarat. A lot of prize money on offer pods, so should be a competitive day's racing. There's big fields, and as we said there, that often leads to more value on the stuff that we like that are in the market. Because as we've been through, like, there's a lot of races that probably only have 2 or 3 chances, so that just means we're going to get a couple of rolls bigger than what we would have if there was less runners in the field. So
yep.
hopefully that it's not windy up there and we can see them all right. But make sure you jump on. $99 gets you Potts' set, and it gets you Johnny Walter's set up there in Sydney. Plus into the chat room with the rest of us. And
Johnny Walter's just been going terrific, just really consistent. He was all worried about last week, but I thought his tipping was rock solid, really. On what wasn't an easy day at Rosehill. I'd imagine he'll be finding plenty of value there again on Saturday. Dallas has seen them really well from the yard, so you need to get involved with that. And there's just a bunch of specials at the punter show at the moment. So
yeah, there's There's plenty happening.
The boys are, they're having a real go at the moment, so it's good stuff. And I feel really good about this meeting. I just feel like there's really good opportunities there. So, of course, big fields, you need things to fall your way, but I think there's enough value in this card for us to get a result out of it.
Well, we'll be back this time next week to have a look. I don't know where they are next week. Pods haven't looked that far ahead.
No, we'll have a clue.
So, but we'll tackle that next Thursday when we sit down again, and hopefully we'll see everyone in the chat room. Good luck, punters. We'll see you next week.
Good punting, everyone.
Good luck, Pots. See you, mate.